So one of the shittier InfoWars hosts decided it was a good idea to, do a casual, nonchalant segment advocating for genocide. Now, you might think this is hyperbole. I wish it was hyperbole. It's not hyperbole. Take a look.
This is Harrison Smith for InfoWars.com. The topic of our story today is an unpleasant one. It's parasites, bugs, ticks, to be precise. The headline is from Wired. We have no idea how bad the U.S. tick problem is. Now, ticks are parasites. They provide nothing. They simply find a host, a productive host, to leech off of, and they suck their lifeblood, their energy, and take it to themselves, providing the host with nothing, often leaving the host diseased and with a whole other litany of problems, often killing the host before moving on to the next victim. That's ticks. Says most people don't even notice they've been bitten until after the pest has had time to suck up blood meal and transfer its infections it has circulating in its spit. And we're very aware of that. Sometimes you don't even notice that the infection has spread to you until it's too late, until these ticks are so far embedded that it will be almost impossible to get them out. Now, reported cases of Lyme disease, that's the most common U.S. tick-borne illness, have quadrupled since the 1990s. It's really an unprecedented rise. You really have to get to the bottom of what's causing it. Scientists say they don't know which combination of factors could be shifting climate patterns, human sprawl, deforestation. They don't know what's leading to more ticks in more places, but there's no denying that the population has exploded recently. Whole new communities are being engulfed by this tick every year. That's what happens if you don't do something proactively to stop these ticks. They destroy their host and then move on to the next host, and of course go on to destroy that as well. They do it in large swarms, practically unmanageable at the volume at which this is happening. An epidemic this is. It's been quietly swelling around us, as you can see, but nobody ever really took it seriously before now. But now, we're really realizing the danger that we're in with this incredible number of ticks invading our population. And again, I just want to drive home how important it is that we eradicate these blood-sucking, parasitical little monsters from our midst.
For those of you who were just listening and you couldn't see what was on the screen there, as he was doing that commentary, they were showing pictures of Bernie Sanders, pictures of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They were showing headlines involving Venezuela, of course. Of course, you can't get through a single right-wing segment discussing any variety of social democracy, democratic socialism, you name it, without this stupid-ass deflection and obfuscation to Venezuela or Cuba. But they were showing pictures of Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez while talking about a tick infestation, a parasite infestation in the U.S. that's, quote, spreading disease. And you heard him at the end, we need to eradicate these blood-sucking monsters. It takes a lot for me to go, whoa, dude. Definitely crossing a line. It takes a lot. I have the thickest skin in the game. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen a lot of dumb arguments. I've seen a lot of borderline incitement calls. And this is right up there with the worst. I was in awe. And this is just, at this point, this is just flat out dangerous. I'll get to the merits of it and why it's mind-numbingly stupid in a second. But it's also dangerous. This is dangerous. And shame on InfoWars, you should know better, because there have been cases of people who are big-time InfoWars fans who have done shootings. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. There was the case in, I think it was Las Vegas, where these guys murdered cops and then laid the "Don't Tread on Me" flag over it. And then in the investigation, they found out this guy and one of the person he was with, I think his wife or a woman was with him, they were rabid InfoWars fans. Now, that's not me saying, oh my God, you need to shut down InfoWars and deplatform them and censor them. I'm a free speech absolutist, and only if you make direct calls for violence is that something where there should be action, legal action taken against you. You're bordering on it here, but since you covered it in innuendo and you made it, you gave yourself plausible deniability, probably nothing can be done. But listen, man, this really is dangerous, and you're putting people's lives at risk. You said, eradicate blood-sucking monsters. It's almost like certain ideologies and certain arguments they don't have a logical counterpoint to, so they smear, and then when smearing doesn't work, they graduate to the next level, which is threaten, which is exactly what we're seeing here. So now let's address the merits of this non-argument. The thing that drives me crazy is that we live in a country. Listen, we're a developed country. So you know what that means? We have taxes. Every developed country has taxes because you need some sort of infrastructure, some sort of government. And believe me, you want it there. The second, if we took that away, people would instantly remember, oh no, I would rather have a social contract, pay my taxes, and have a government there. Whether it's the police or the fire departments or the fire department or the roads or regulation of the marketplace and the FDA to make sure your food isn't fucking tainted, whatever it is. The second we would get rid of a government, you'd go, oh shit, this is bad. We need a government. So the question isn't, should we have a government or not? The question is, where should the line be? So how much in taxes makes sense? What services make sense to have covered by the government and off the table in a sense? And listen, we already spend a tremendous amount of our tax money on rampant militarism and imperialism around the world. We have 900 military bases around the world. It costs $100 billion a year to maintain those military bases. When all is said and done in Iraq, it'll cost $7 trillion. The war in Afghanistan, $2 trillion. We do $80 billion a year as a subsidy, quantitative easing to big banks. We did a giant multi-trillion-dollar Wall Street bailout that was totally unnecessary during the crash. We're bailing out the people who bankrupted their companies and crashed the economy in the first place. We have endless corporate welfare. Look at ExxonMobil. Look at what we end up doing with Walmart. They pay their people a starvation wage, and then taxpayers have to pick up the slack on the social safety net, as opposed to having Walmart pay their workers their fair share. So they make all this profit and then pawn off all their workers to the social safety net. So we have a tremendous amount of money going to offensive military adventures. We have a tremendous amount of money going to corporate welfare. We could do some of the most basic things that other developed countries have done with their tax money and not even raise taxes. We could just redirect the funding and pay the same amount in taxes and probably get free healthcare and free college. In fact, universal healthcare, Medicare for all, saves $17 trillion over a decade because our private system has price gouging in it and an unnecessary for-profit middleman. So when we talk about these social democratic ideas that Bernie Sanders supports, that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez supports, you know what I file these under? Duh! That's what I file these under. It's about taking our tax money, which now goes towards offensive wars and bailing out Wall Street and corporate welfare. Taking that money and put it towards education, putting it towards healthcare. What's wrong with giving people some paid vacation time by law like other developed countries have? Fucking Slovenia managed to do free college. We can't do free college? We can't do it. So, in other words, what this idiot on InfoWars is doing, and he is that, he's an idiot, is he is doing the bidding of the establishment without even realizing he's doing the bidding of the establishment. He's arguing for the status quo without even realizing he's arguing for the status quo. He's making a vicious, borderline genocidal argument against people who are calling to improve their lives and everybody's life in the goddamn country. So I think the thing that frustrates me the most is that they try to portray themselves as these edgy outsiders who are anti-establishment and anti-elitist as they prop up that system All of their energy is geared towards propping up that system. So when somebody comes along and says, maybe not endless war, maybe stop doing corporate welfare for no goddamn reason, maybe stop, the multinational takeover of our government and billionaire takeover of our government where our politicians are wholly bought and owned by corporations and big money. When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez comes along, totally funded by the people to do the bidding of the people, according to the opinion polls, they act like she's the epitome of the establishment and she's an elitist. No, you're the elitists. Or at least you're the useful idiots of the elitists. That's the best case scenario. So they can't engage honestly. They can't engage honestly because they'll lose. They lose that debate 10 out of 10 times. So what do? They smear, and now they graduated to threatening. Yeah, eradicate the blood-sucking monsters. So the people who want to improve your life, you got to eradicate them because they're such a threat. Be afraid of college and healthcare. Ooh, be afraid of ending the offensive wars. Ooh, be afraid of increasing freedom by legalizing marijuana and ending the drug war. InfoWars regularly makes stupid points. But when you have people who are really advocating for what the solutions are, that's when they go over the top and become even more outrageous and even more insane. All we're asking for, they keep bringing up Venezuela. Hey, asshole, bring up Sweden. Bring up Denmark. Okay? Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have a social democratic system that improves people's lives, gives people equal opportunity, not equal outcome, improves quality of life, improves the middle class and economic standing. So they have to strawman, they have to smear, and now they've graduated to threatening because they have no fucking argument except to shriek and yell Venezuela, and then when we argue against that point, they'll graduate to Cuba or they'll graduate to fucking the Soviet Union. Stop obfuscating and smearing and engage honestly. You want to disagree with us? Fine, disagree with us. But when we say, actually, we're talking about social democracy like Sweden, you're not allowed to go, but Venezuela, blood-sucking parasites, monsters that need to be eradicated. Damn. Such a lack of a logical response that you go to, I'm going to threaten now. That's like a fucking, like a dangerous, violent alcoholic who just got beaten in an argument, and so they graduate to like breaking a bottle and holding, like, I'm gonna fucking attack you because you said something smart. That's what that feels like. That's what that is. And just because you're acting calm and you're wearing a fucking goofy Spock shirt doesn't mean you're intelligent, douchebag. So I'm sick of these guys, man. I'm sick of these guys. And if you are a fan of what they're doing, I almost feel bad for you. Because they are running interference for the establishment and they don't even realize it. And that's some next level stupid.